Hey guys, how's it going? I'm Shoma, and in this video I want to talk about all of the reasons why you do want to live forever, and I want to take all of the reasons that people have given me and that I saw on the internet, the biggest reasons why people don't want to live forever, and I want to squish them and show you what I think is a better path forward, a more open path forward. Because again, I think that this is one of the single biggest things that humans can do now. Now, the biggest comment that I get is most people would have no idea that there could even be technology to make us live forever. Now, along comes Aubrey de Grey, which is actually the inspiration of this video and a lot of my own personal inspiration as to the fact that we could even potentially live forever. Like, the technology exists where we can live forever. Now, Aubrey de Grey and his team came up with 7 reasons why we age. So 7 reasons why basically everything else happens. So all of the negative signs that happen with aging. And what happens in modern medicine is we wait till old age and then we try to fix those things. And what Aubrey de Grey, I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name, did is he went ahead and he said, well, why fix the problem when you can just prevent the problem? And he equated all of this to a car. So I have my little Honda Civic that's been running for almost 20 years. Now, the reason it could run for 20 years, almost 20 years, is that I did periodic maintenance to it. So I changed its oil, I changed its tires, I changed whatever is broken to it. And because of this, it's still able to run. It's able to run about as well as when it was first made. Now, the same thing can happen to a human body because we are very similar to cars. We're a lot more complex, but ultimately the same principles can be applied. So if you know what the actual causes, the actual mechanisms that cause all these symptoms later on in life, well, then you can invent or you can discover therapies to do earlier on in life so that you don't get the negative symptoms of old age. And I think that is one of the biggest things that people miss, is that it's actually possible. Now, I don't want to actually bore you guys, so I've actually went ahead and just linked the video down below. So go ahead and check that out if you're more interested about all the 7 ways why we actually age, but do that after this video. Now, the biggest reason that I found that people didn't want to live forever was the fact that they all said that they would get bored. To which I say, do you not want to go see the oceans of Mars? Do you not want to go to some distant planet and see the human race expand, or do all of the wonderful things that are going to happen in the next 100, 200, 300, 500, 1,000 years? Because if you think about it, what happened in the last 100? In the last 100, we saw the moon. Humans landed on the moon. Before then, no one thought that was possible. And so we don't actually know what's going to happen in the future, what wonderful things are going to exist. And yes, if you are bored with your life right now, then odds are you'll be bored no matter what. So the real question is why are you bored with your life right now? Now, that is a topic, and actually one of my own personal other favorite topics to talk about, so I will be definitely making more videos on that in the future, so stay tuned, but just keep that in mind. Why are you bored right now? And more importantly, why do you think you'd be bored in the future with an infinitely more possibilities? The next big point that people bring up is that they will be frail and sickly. Well, actually, the way these therapies ideally would work is that, in fact, no, you wouldn't actually be frail and sickly. You'd be living at your 20 to 30s mark, because that is your biological prime. And that is what these therapies would allow you to essentially come to. The one after that is, I don't want my friends and family to die. That would be so lonely to be the only immortal. Well, you wouldn't be the only immortal. Again, the very first point. The next point, I think, is actually quite valid. That you'd have overpopulation and you'd have societal stagnation. Well, yes, these are actually very valid concerns about if everyone was immortal, because if everyone was immortal and they continued to have children, then the population would just skyrocket exponentially and it would go out of hand. But my one biggest argument to this is we will soon go to other planets. We will soon start being a spacefaring species. And so likely that wouldn't actually be all that bad. But this is probably the biggest concern that I would have is the overpopulation, especially if we actually can't get into space. But that, I think, is a problem that we as a society can overcome. The next point, and actually this is the one that I thought was personally the biggest one for myself, is that my brain and everyone's brains are very, very limited in their capacity to, you know, remember things. And they're not really limited in the next, 100, 200, 300 years, but beyond that, they could start filling up and you can start forgetting very, very significant chunks of your life. And that can come with so many moral quandaries of why bother doing things if you're just going to forget them. And one solution that I came up with, and actually this was a little bit of a challenge for me, is to record your life more. Because you don't need to remember every single mundane thing that happened. Ultimately, I don't need to remember my car ride from the SkyTrain station to my house. That is not important. I remember it, but I don't need to remember it. And so if you record the best memories that you have, and then you can go over them every 10 years, and you can make sure that, okay, I remember the most important things. Now, the last and final problem that most people have is, but Shoma, you can't escape the heat death of the universe. And to which I say, you got me. You really did get me. But like, I'll take a couple 100 trillion years. Okay? I will take those. I hope you guys found this video enlightening, and I hope it gave you something to think about for the future and, dinner talk. If you liked it, please like and subscribe for more of this and more well-being stuff that will be coming your way soon. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you guys next time.